Okay, let's see. Am I live? Hell yeah. Okay, we are back after quite an extended break. Whoops. Ha. Auspicious start. Okay, is that even... That doesn't look like it is connected. Hey, Deandra, can you hear me? Trying to figure out which mic is it? Okay, it's not that mic. Let's reconnect this. Okay. How's the audio? Because I don't know if my main mic is actually connected or not. Okay, there we go. There we go. I got my OBS opened up right now, so it's like whenever I do that, I just see it just straight into the red. So apologies to any ears that may have messed with. Okay, cool. Yeah, like I'm saying, welcome back, everybody. It has been a hot minute. I did clean up a lot of my streams because I realized I was using the same exact stream thing for each one, including thumbnail and title, and I didn't want to go through and try to fix that, especially because they were always impromptu, not really the most well thought out, but wanted to try a few new things, and I have now had a few weeks to just recover from the holidays. It was kind of insane. The last stream I had, I think it was actually around a month ago, maybe like 3-4 weeks. But from there, I went up to like Denver for a week, drove back down to Texas, and then drove like 2 hours to another place in Texas. Then I was like in Arizona for a week, then back and back. So my body was done. It's kind of funny. I'll release this video in yes, like a couple weeks, but I had a whole like video that's planned about like 30 days of training like a fantasy superhero, and like I actually like straight up dropped about like 10 pounds, and after just I was holding strong for a while, but after about 2 weeks of traveling, my diet went straight to shit. And I like wound up gaining it all back. So it's gonna make a very interesting video because I was gonna have that be a series and continue on. We'll see how that goes, but going from like diet to just like ramen every day, it's hard to like come back to that. But on the upside, I've kept pretty much training, and I was doing kind of like a weird specific type of it where it's more based on like movement and just skill based. So I don't feel like it was a total loss, but still, I definitely have some inertia I'm gonna need to work through. But yeah, I wanted to try a new stream format because I would like this to be kind of a vehicle. So I can actually like cut off pieces of this and start reusing it, so then I feel less bad if my like videos don't come out every like 2-3 weeks. Oh yeah, yeah. Now if your like tendons are messed up and you're like kind of heavy on them, it definitely like sucks. So I mean, losing that kind of weight, your body will definitely feel better. I've done, I think the most I ever like lost in like a relatively short period of time, like a year, was about 40 pounds. and the difference in like how like everything felt from like 200 pounds to like 160 was pretty insane. But even like 5-10 pounds, I noticed like a huge difference in just like movement and like how I feel day to day. So I mean, it sucks having to like lose that, but probably get a bunch of benefits other than just like your ankle not hurting. So, you know, good luck. I'm currently back on trying to lose weight again. Um, yeah, that's not bad. Actually, that's pretty crazy, dude. So you're gonna try to hit like 170 at or I guess 175, 80 at 6 foot. I mean, you'll probably be like shredded if you get to that part, but that's like not like a crazy weight. Let's see. What was I? So yeah, that sucks. I mean, if you're like weighing a lot more, the weight just kind of comes off like way easier. But I think once you get into that like around 20% body fat range, which assuming you have like muscle and everything, you're probably there, if not lower, then that's when like I feel like weight loss gets really hard. I remember when I was like not working out and it was just heavy and like the first like 6 months of that just weight was like flying off, but then once I like gained muscle and was active and making good choices and like you still have like that dad bod type of build, like actually leaning out at that point is like way more demoralizing. But you don't get those like newbie gym gains anymore either. So it's kind of like, okay, well, I can be disciplined and everything, and like maybe I can lift a little bit more weight. Or but once you've done it a few times, at least for me, it's kind of like just a slower grind. And mentally, that's kind of like, all right, I need to like not look at a scale like for like 2 weeks just to like see what the difference is. But yeah, I'm gonna try a few new things with this stream. One being actually after this going and adding chapters into it. But to start things out, I was going to talk about what I have been reading. Nice, Midnight Tides. I re-picked up Malazan. I haven't gotten super far into Reaper's Gale, mainly because I have a few other books I've been on rotation that have been addicting. For me, Malazan, it takes me a little while to get that like momentum going. Once I have it, it's like pretty easy for me to get hyped up and go. But just getting back into it and like not coming off like the last book, it's definitely been like a slower pace. I think once I finish Reaper's Gale, I will just do a special stream where I just give my whole spoiler review off of that, and then maybe I'll make like a shorter video about that. But I'm planning on just like an hour long, like here's a notes sheet, reading off of it, just kind of giving an impromptu review about it. Definitely like Stephen Erickson, but one problem I do have is that I've been reading slop for the last 6 months. Just all lit RPG, power fantasy, things that you don't really have to think a lot about. And whenever there's like a good version of that, like Dungeon Crawler Carl, it's kind of a nice little break. But this year looks like it's going to be pretty stacked on fantasy releases, so I need to get back into like just reading normal epic fantasy. Yeah, I really like Midnight Tides. I think Reaper's Gale was like or Gardens of the Moon and Reaper's Gale for me were like the worst. I liked the third book. Dead House Gates was pretty hard for me to get through. But the third book, what was that called? I had it on my bookshelf, but I don't see it. Anyway, the third book, I think that was the one where I like finally, it's like, oh, I get Melisande. But I liked books 5 and 6 a lot. But the main thing I have been doing in my burrow or just dive into lit RPG, yeah, Memories of Ice, my lit RPG slop dive, is I found this one author named Machanouts, and he has actually some pretty fun books. I want to make this a video, but like Benjamin Carey, I think I mentioned him before. He had these like really crazy titles, like oh great, I got Isekai as a farmer in a fantasy world or something. Like all of his titles are pretty crazy. But he played it with this idea that if you're in a system and you can like level up or gain stats like a video game, like those stats should affect your like psyche. And he was the first person I've really seen to see that. Like, you know, if you suddenly have superhuman endurance or intelligence, like that should affect you as a character or a person. And I think that's why I liked his stuff. But this guy, Macronaut, he had a book series called Industrial Strength Magic. I just got through the first two books. But it's kind of like that system, but set in a fantasy superhero universe where kind of like a MCU, like there's magic, Tinkers, which are basically like Iron Man's, like regular Superman type superhero, super strength, speed, all of that. But it's set in a lit RPG, and it's really fun. It's a little too loose, so it's kind of like all over the place. But I enjoyed it a lot. He had another book series that I'm reading because he only had the first two books for his Industrial Strength Magic on audiobook that are more traditional fantasy lit RPG. Been enjoying that a bit more, but for his other series, it has like one of the most stacked audio narrator voice actors that I've ever seen. It's like Jeff Hayes, Travis Baldry, Andrea Parsons, and like three other people that I'm a huge fan of just for their like audiobook narration. And so it's like everyone kind of picked what they're best at, and it kind of threw me for a loop at first because I thought it was just gonna be like one or two like narrators, and I was like, wait a second, I know Jeff Hayes. I've read so many of his like books he's narrated. Same thing with Andrea Parsons. I've done all of the Wandering In books that have come out, and her voice has been like cemented into my head because of that. It's like 200 hours worth of content just like of her narrating. So just the idea, like one, it's a really fun book, but they managed to get that many people like in just one book series was kind of crazy. I've seen it before where it's like switching chapters, or Brandon Sanderson's books do that, like Michael Kramer, and I forget the girl who does the female characters, but they switch chapter by chapter. This one, it's like every chapter, like if it was a monster, it was going to be Jeff Hayes narrating. If it was like, you know, one of the main characters or whatever, it's going to be this guy. If there was a girl, not normal, but one that kind of had like an attitude or was like very snarky, it's like Andrea Parsons. So it was kind of crazy, like how they put that all together. I think the other thing, I need to check what else I've been reading. Oh, this was kind of one of the more insane reads. I'm not gonna say it's well written because I'm too early into it, and it's a web novel. But someone made a John Brown Isekai like web novel, and John Brown is in that guy who was like an abolitionist terrorist back before the Civil War. He basically was like, no, it wasn't terrorist. It was the abolitionist insurrectionist. He had some kind of crazy title. Anyway, he basically was going around and liberating different like slave colonies in the U.S. like by force. So he like was a 6-year-old dude. Said he was on a mission to God, but he was like, if you believe in slavery or support it, the only like logical reason why you would do that is that you are possessed by a demon. And the only way you can treat that is by putting a slug of lead through your head. And so he was like this old guy on a mission of God. And I think they made a TV show about him. I forgot the name of it, but basically he was like so feared, and he started so many like slave results and killed so many slavers and freed so many like slaves pre-Civil War that he indirectly caused the Civil War. But at his funeral, he had like 2,000 soldiers, cannons trained on him, this whole crazy thing. And it's wild that this person like existed in real life. It's kind of like a John Wick's grandfather type of deal. But this dude that wrote this book wound up saying like, okay, he died here, wrote the whole funeral scene, and now he's in a fantasy world that has a bunch of like the normal like isekai protagonists that are like, oh well, I was like terrible with women. It's not my fault they didn't like me because I didn't bathe for like a week, or the normal thing for whatever reason. Isekais have like slavery, where like it's not immediately considered morally reprehensible. And John Brown, that was there, isekai'd as his 6-year old self, and then just basically continues doing the same thing but with magic powers. So one of the more insane things, it has like a pretty active subreddit, which I think is interesting because there's not like a lot of views or anything on this series, but it was weird but really entertaining, and the writer had a lot of flair doing this. Hasn't quite like sucked me into it, but the concept is just so absurd that I'm probably going to be like picking it up here and there. The other thing, and this is the last thing I was really reading, was need to look up the title, but it's really good. I've been kind of getting more into web novels recently. Oh, it's not on this one, but it's probably the best regression time loop piece of media I have ever read. I'll probably drop it down in the title. I have to get it off of my Kindle. Oh, is that the We Are Bob, We Are Universe? Let's see if I can log into my Royal Road account. Okay, no, I'm thinking of a different one. James Islington. I think I've read something else by. Oh yeah, he did the Lycanius trilogy. I enjoyed that. I never finished it, but I don't remember being blown away by it. But I thought it was like pretty fun. All right, let me see. All right, where is my... Oh, that sucks. It's not in my my thing. Oh wait, here it is. The Years of Apocalypse. I started reading that. It's really good. I haven't gotten too far into it, but so far it's like probably one of the best like time loop things I've ever read. Yeah, I'll probably get more into it later. I've been thinking rather, or unless it's like a very specific book I want to review. For the most part, I'm gonna try to like lump books together to make like bigger videos, so it won't be just like here is book 6 of like Malazan. Actually, I'll do a Malazan review, or like book 3 of the Lycanius trilogy. Like I don't want to do just like here's an individual review because those wind up taking me about like 3 to 4 days to make. I'd rather spend like a week making like a bigger video talking about like 5 books. So I want to start doing that, but all right. I'm gonna pause this. And let's see. The plan today was that I was going to alternate playing Slay the Spire and trying to do this piece of art I've been thinking about. Move myself here. Let's move this here. And see if we can get something that makes sense. Basically, what I want to do is because I'm now like getting to the end of the first draft of this book I've been writing. I'm gonna release it for free just probably on Royal Road or some kind of web novel site after I get through it a couple times. But just before I get into the edit, I want to start drawing like scenes and ideas of it. Mainly one, it's like a way for me to practice, and two, it's I kind of wanted like streams to be kind of like me doing things I was gonna do anyway, and kind of like a fun, just like here's like the random shit I'm into. Um, so we can start out with standard. I mostly play this on my phone, so I'm just curious. So where is the volume on this? So we're basically just going to go back and forth. Okay, there we go. Back and forth playing a few runs on Slay the Spire, and then every like 5 or so minutes, I'm gonna go back and work on a scene or an idea, or just kind of like visually flesh out the stuff that I've been working on. It's kind of cool. I've gotten up to like Ascension and 14, 15 on a few of these characters, but definitely have not been doing it on my computer. It's all been phone because I think Slay the Spire is one of the greatest like games you can play in the toilet ever. Same thing with like Bellatra. But just so I don't have a blank thing while we're waiting on that, I'm going to get a basic outline going of the scene. It is going to be lit RPG slop because that is what I've been reading a lot, and that seems to be what does well on make this bigger. What seems to do well in the indie world. Let me move this here, and if I get enough eyes on the book eventually, my plan was to then, I don't know, see if I can get the skill level to get published. Right now, I have no illusions. I think I can make something entertaining, but it's not really something I've been like necessarily like working on or doing more than casually for a while. So it'd be great if writing works out, but I instead will just release it for free as slop, and fingers crossed it does well, and maybe in 10 years it will do well. Okay, so let me get some layers going. I hate when it does that. Show me the layer. No. It's probably the thing I hate most about Photoshop is just how it sets up. Okay. Get a custom. Okay. Try that again. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. There we go. Brush. Go here. General. And let's get some charcoal going. Alright, good. So basically what I'm going to do is draw a scene from this indie web novel thing I'm working on. I'm close to finishing the rough draft. I think in about 6 months I'm going to release it on like Royal Roads or some free site. And part of the thing I want to do is mainly to like kind of start combining hobbies. So I wanted to bring to life some of the scenes or ideas that I had in the book, mainly so when I edit it, it's kind of like things to think about, and just visually seeing something if it passes like the sniff test. So I'm going to be alternating doing some arts. Today it's going to be the Eldritch horror chaos god that winds up isekaiing the main character. And every like 5 minutes or so, I'm just gonna like switch, like draw a little bit, place light the spire, draw a little bit, place light the spire. Eventually, I'll have like kind of somewhere down here like chat prompts where it will be like you guys will help me design this. But right now, I coming back had no idea how many people would be here or not, so I figured I would save you guys the awkwardness of having to choose things and just kind of put something out there. Okay, so basically this is going to be kind of like a rough sketch. One of first chapter of the book, the main character is like a hacker. That's kind of like at his desk. I'm not like great at like perspective, but we'll get a basic kind of like desk going. Add in some kind of monitor. And this is just kind of like a rough see where like everything's at. And he is like actively trying to hack into something as kind of like a FU to society, because his life has just been like going like straight to shit. And that piques the interest of the Chaos God. Got these lines. I'm gonna have to like definitely like come back into here. Who is a gaping horror of just a bunch of eyes, or at least that's kind of like the very first way that we're like introduced. So I am going to get something dilated. I have the idea of like kind of like two pupils. I don't know how I'm gonna like do a like cracking void, but it's fine just because this one I just wanted like kind of a general idea. So we're not going to be running with this, but we'll at least get like an idea of what this looks like. I definitely want like kind of like cracks going and breaking the room up. And rough, not really worry about what any of it looks like. Just a empty void that is filled with 1,000 eyes. Yeah, one thing that I was really is interesting because I had this idea, and then I'm not surprised like other people have like kind of been doing the same thing because I had this a while ago, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who like had that thought. But in the system that I'm designing, because it is a lit RPG, the idea that really made me want to write it is that like when you level up in like games or whatever, generally it's like you get like stronger or you're better at magic, you're faster and everything, but there's generally not like any real changes to like your body like in general. Um, in like Janjan or like wuxia novels where it's like cultivators and everything, you get that whole thing where like, oh, like I shed like the earthly realm, and like now my body is like pure. It's like now like I have like great skin, whatever. um so there are certain instances that you do see like changes like as you get like more powerful, but I thought it would be cool to do kind of like a natural selection thing. So there's a few books like what was it? It's like the Primal Hunter, but with an axe guy instead. And they talk about like the Tao, where it's like you have to come up with like these different concepts of like, okay, you want the Tao of the axe, like what is fundamentally an axe, what are the different like things that you can make of it, sharpness, hardness type of deal. And you can like grow based on like your own like interpretation of like what that scheme of power is. So for me, I was like, okay, well that's like conceptual, but what if you like leveled up kind of like based on that, but your body actually responded to it? So say your like whole powers were about like boxing and punching people in the face. You could be a guy who thinks like, oh well, like the best way to do that is to have like super long arms. And so if you thought that was like your power and you're like leveling up, then your arms could actually like get longer in the process of it. Or like say like magic, where there's magic in the atmosphere, but to like better utilize it, you need like better receptacles to like see it or like inhale it or whatever you think is like the best thing. So it's not necessarily that it would be, and there are limitations on like how much you physically could change. In my writing notes, I was like, well, what if like Danny DeVito wanted to be a barbarian warrior, and like for him, like he could be like, oh well, I want to be like a giant ball of muscle. Well, Danny DeVito's like 4'9", 5'1", whatever his height is, and he could get bigger or longer arms or whatever it is, but he's probably not going to be like the most effective, and he's not going to turn into like Arnold Schwarzenegger just because his ideal of that is. So there's still like limitations on what is and what isn't, and you can definitely like have the wrong idea and kind of like get yourself into a corner. Um, but I thought it would be a cool idea that you could have people that kind of come up with these kind of cheats or like whatever else that would then like let you kind of have really interesting combinations and different classes and stuff. So people could like in real time like do a natural selection, evolve into like what they think the best version of whatever they're trying to do is. So it's kind of in line with that, like, you know, if you change the system changes you. I haven't seen anyone do like that idea necessarily. More just like, okay, if you raise your intelligence, then it's like all of a sudden your memory is just like way better. Or, you know, your endurance, you feel invulnerable, strength type of deal. It's like you have to relearn how to like hold things because of just how like different like life is with like superhuman stats. So it's not quite the same, but it is just a similar idea. I like the idea of like you affect the system and then the system affects you. So we'll see if I can take that idea and like actually like execute it like in any type of like palatable way. It'll be interesting. The last time I think I shared any of my like writing work on the internet was like COVID time, and I was doing a lot of writing back then, and I kept getting like, oh, this has promise, but yikes. It's like, dude, you read too much anime. And I was like, I'm trying my best. I released my fun one because I thought it was fun. So I'll be interested to kind of see like where it might like stand. Actually, I'm gonna give this kind of weird mascara type eyes. So it will be definitely interesting. Just like if there is a reaction, and I'm kind of torn on whether or not I want to like release it under the same like creative alias as I currently have for YouTube, or if I just want to like secretly hide it, and then if it like does well, I can be like, you fools, it was me the whole time. Yeah, it's gonna be a lit RPG or progression fantasy. I don't really want to have to manage a stat system, so likely it's gonna be closer to progression fantasy. But for my plot to work, I need it. I need a class system because that's kind of like some of the parts that like hinge on everything. And if I can do that without, if I can get level ups and a class system without it being lit RPG, awesome. If not, it's going to be a very soft lit RPG because I don't ever really care or get excited about like stats going up. It's always for me like kind of like that progression fantasy, like seeing the result of the power, not like the numerical representation of the power. But I haven't quite decided what that's going to look like. The way I like to write is I just make everything happens first, and then I make it fit onto like whatever genre I want to write in. So right now the big things like the plot and characters and like the general like, okay, well, yeah, he gets a class here that like makes sense. But I'm not quite sure yet what the end result's going to look like. There's going to be overlap, but there already is like a lot of overlap with progression and lit RPG. I mean, honestly, like power fantasy in general has like a lot of stuff. That's like Brandon Sanderson. So yeah, technically the Stormlight Archives, your class is whatever Knight Radiant order you're in. And after that, it's like you level up by like going through like the different like Radiant ideals and all that. So I mean, that like as a method could work, but I'm still in the let me just like get a decent plot first before like I commit to anything. Okay, I'm not a huge fan of that. It's kind of different from what I was thinking, so I'm gonna get a new layer. And I'll fill that out in a second. We'll switch back to Slay the Spire. Have you played this before, Dimitri? See, I want that guy. Oh, I forgot I picked that next 3 enemies only have 1. I put limit break in the thumbnail, so I hope I can get limit break. Let's see. So had my notes here. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be locked into lit RPGs forever. For the thing I'm working on now, I have a 5-book idea. I don't want to be stuck in that like 20-book type of deal, and I'd rather, especially if it's going to be out on like Royal Roads, don't want to be like locked into that. But to me, that's going to be like if I can get an audience just writing or not. From there, it's like I'd be happy just doing like kind of traditional or like epic fantasy. Yeah, Slay the Spire was pretty fun. It's one of those games I saw my friend play it, and I was like, this would be the ultimate like Switch or like phone game. And it definitely is up there. I put it kind of like a similar thing as like Balatro, if you played that. I was trying to figure out too, because I wanted some games I could like switch back and forth with and play and like not really have to worry about like Cyberpunk. I get stuck in these like long cutscenes and stuff's happening, so it's kind of like hard to talk and do it at the same time. So I was like, all right, this or Balatro, which do I want to do? And this one has like pretty good art, even though I like or prefer the music on Balatro, I think. Speaking of progression fantasy, I do want to get back into Will Wright. I saw that he released a new book series called The Captain that is apparently like really good. I guess like less people pick that up than Cradle because I don't see that recommended as much. But he did the thing that I have seen. What's his name? The guy Terry, the guy who wrote Terry Mancore, who did the Spellmonger. And basically he had like one dude get like 9 different like versions of himself or minds like stuck in his mind that kind of made him overpowered. It's like kind of a fun concept, something I definitely do want to like play around with eventually. Like I love that idea of like multiple brains in like one body. See, I have a terrible deck right now. Probably too bad to tackle this one, but maybe we'll get some good RNG in a bit. Oh yeah, I was watching clips of that. Yeah, I missed the game. I don't remember if it was yesterday. I think it was yesterday. The Broncos looks like they're gonna go to the Super Bowl. I'm pretty excited about that, just because like the spending so much time up in Denver. I know a lot of my friends are gonna be psyched. And I don't remember the last time they've like done anything of note. Say I need to get back into mixed martial arts too, because like I have just not been like caught up at all with the UFC. But a lot of my friends keep talking about like all the banger fights that have been happening. Oh shit. Yeah, we'll see how that's gonna like play out in the Super Bowl. Damn, so it's like been a minute. You know what? It's not limit break, but I can work with demon form. I could rest, or I could power level. I keep saying, speaking of UFC memes, about like sending your kid to Dagestan. I can now challenge. We'll skip the elite. Transform, get rid of this defense. That works. And rest. I'm super excited for the next Slay the Spire. I feel like games in the last year have just gotten like really good, like comparative, like just the dry spells I like remember seeing. Here, kill this guy, defense. I think Slay the Spire 2 comes out this year. Fable, or the Fable reboot's gonna come out soon too, which I am super excited for. That was like one of my favorite games all time coming up. There's a few others. I mean, I keep seeing the memes about like Grand Theft Auto, like 6 just delayed again. Yeah, of course I get exactly what I would need to kill this guy. Entangled stops you from attacking. And dead. Oh, something too that I wanted to like include in like my book that I haven't really seen like mentioned directly, except in a couple progression fantasies. And that's like the idea of when you have like these like super overpowered like superhero like characters, like how do you have like a normal guy ruling over them? Like Cradle, it's like the most powerful person. It's the person like in charge of everything, and you know, even though they can like just kill everything, they still want to have like access to normal things. But I kind of want to see it like on a bigger scale. Like, say the most powerful person doesn't want to rule or whatever. Like, how does that look like compared to a normal king? You know, with like Stormlight, you had the Radiant Order, which would like help out with like a lot of things, but they're not necessarily like ruling everything. So this one, how that actually like affect like the politics of the world at large, or let's say you're just like a like adventurer that's like extremely powerful and you just want to go on doing your own thing. Like, I don't see how a like government would just like leave you alone to do your own thing. It's like, imagine if there's just like random Americans that like basically have like nukes just hidden away. It's like there's no way in hell like you wouldn't have like the government constantly trying to like mess with them, but also they have nukes, and so like if you annoy them enough, they could just like completely go off. We're gonna add weak, take the hit, and start the power level. Okay. Here, here. Take the L, and then after this boss fight, I'm gonna go back to art. Okay, he is back. The other fun thing about this game is like you have different types of like bosses at the end of it, so the replayability is pretty fun. When you're playing like the higher ascensions at the beginning, like the game gets harder, so it's like by the time you get to like level 20, generally you're pretty strong, or you're pretty good at the game. You can kind of like these earlier ones like misplay a lot of stuff because you don't have a lot of like negative things affecting you, but when your healing's just like so limited, it gets like pretty interesting. But like this boss fight, I'm playing it pretty loose because, you know, after this I'll be able to heal. 37. Let's see. I'll grab this. Okay. So back to this. It's not terrible, but I think what I might wind up doing instead is maybe still have the room. Kind of warped edges. Give kind of like a rough character. Falling back. We'll give him a hat. It's the face of just unmitigated horror. Kind of falling back, not committed to like the pose or anything, but this is basically just the shitty thumbnail. Probably want to move him up a bit, but that's fine. We can bring him up. And I still need to convey that this is a room. Immediately my brain is going into that is not an eye. Bring this down. Maybe it's like clawing like into reality. Actually, you know what? I had a better idea. So perspective better. Here. Make the room like a little off center. I think I've been too affected by the Primal Hunter because there's like a snake god in it. So like now whenever I like keep drawing these like godlike beings, it's always like snake eyes. One problem I have too is like I learned how to draw like more cartoony anime, so it's like hard to like get these like Eldritch things going. There's one dude, he like has like a awesome like art series. He like basically is like drawing like these ink blots where he like drops down these ink stains and then we'll draw like a Cthulhu or a dragon off of it, just like completely random based off of it. It's like really unique, huge fan. It's like Norwegian dude. So it's gonna be like head. It's better, but still. I'm gonna go back here. This. I think I'm gonna have to like come back to the port ideas. I might need to just do like all my mock-ups before I even like come in here, but that's okay. We are learning. I have a shit ton of gold. Let's get some health. Bring down this. One fun thing is that Proco, I'm a pretty big fan of. They have an amazing channel, other art stuff, but I found out they had a bunch of like free courses online. So rather than what I have been doing, which is just randomly putting stuff together, not that many. I now have a few free art classes that hopefully will let me draw Eldritch gods of unspeakable horror. Yeah, so for the streams, I will be doing minimum 2 a week. I was doing like Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. I think what I will be doing now, though, is just hitting a Saturday, Wednesday stream, and then depending on like what's happening, also do a Sunday stream. Um, this is kind of like me testing out like the format, going back and forth. No, it is way too big. I like the general idea of it so far. I mean, it's definitely gonna like be kind of a learning curve. Um, I need to get more like prompts because like the idea that I had for this was basically like, okay, I play a game, I have these like kind of fantasy takes or whatever, and then kind of like go back and forth. But I think for the go back and forth, I need to like do all my mock sketches before. And the idea that I had about if I want to use that. About kind of like talking about the book, whatever. Those were supposed to be like more general topics, but the having it kind of tie more into the art, I think, would be pretty cool. Yeah, why not? We'll do some weak damage. It's also kind of funny. I saw that like Morse Critical like was checking out the hype for the Slay the Spire, which I'm actually surprised he hasn't played it as much as he did. It's like one of those games that like I just assume everyone's played just because of like the sheer amount of hours I've like sunk into this game. But then I've also been surprised by people who have never played like the Hollow Knight. So also with creative endeavors, one thing, it's not going to be anytime soon, but I'm hoping I can get the art to a level where I could do this. I used to mess around with like pixel art, and back when I was like in computer science, they had all of these electives you could take. So I actually took game development as an elective. Uh, but I kind of have like this bucket list of like random creative things that I've just always wanted to do. One of which was like making my own indie game. And I've been getting really into board games lately. So the idea of like kind of bringing to life something like a card game that I've custom made or a board game, um, it would be cool to do like kind of like an enclosed indie story one. But I've also just had like way too many just hobbies I think in the past. So it's kind of like, oh, like I want to like make a indie game. I want to release an album, do all this type of stuff. I mean, I was doing my New Year's goals, and honestly, it's just like me uh, starting small, but like artistically, the only thing I really want to get out of like practicing art is to go to this local fantasy bar and sell like goose stickers or like draw the those like silly goose memes that have been going around. Just go and like sell uh, fantasy versions of that, which I feel like is doable. But it's like the idea, like, oh, cool, I made money off of like this thing, awesome. Yeah, no, my bucket list used to be like completely insane. I had it when I was younger. It was like, oh, go to like every single continent before I'm like 30, which sounded awesome. And I'd already been to like three out of the seven. But the one thing about like when you're like under 30 is you just don't have money unless you like did everything like super correctly ahead of time, which I did not. I had to like wait till like now I could probably do it, but then I'd rather just spend my time doing other stuff. So you're gonna try to do anything with your music? I remember seeing that last like jazz thing that you posted and it was like pretty sick. I'll get more use out of that. Yeah. I got to that place with guitar where like I'll occasionally pick it up and try to learn a song, but at a certain point, it's like you just have to do like that music conservatory thing where you're just like constantly like practicing scales and or spending like a ridiculous amount of time like trying to improve. Oh yeah, I mean like bass and guitar unless you're trying to like learn how to like slap. I feel like there's like a lot of overlap that you can do. I mean, if you are trying to learn slap bass, and I guess you could learn like flamenco or something. I always think about like that guitarist Ichika Nito, who just like didn't really have anything going on per se, but then it was like, okay, I'm gonna play guitar for like 6 hours after work every day for like 4 years, and then that like really added up. Okay, yeah, I'll be able to kill this guy. I feel like producing too is its own like skill set that other than like knowing like how to do the music. You're not like there's not like any overlapping things. But I also have some friends that do that for like EDM music, and like that's like a full time hobby for them. No, that's good, man. I decided that I'm just going to lean into cloud engineering, which frees up a lot of like my time because I was like doing like lead code, and I don't want to do that anymore. And then also I feel like with AI and everything, that's like a safer specialization than like software engineering. Go here, here. But with that, like in those like art courses I mentioned, like I'm gonna try to start getting like right now I'm trying to like rebuild up just the habit of drawing. I was really good like 1 to 2 hours a day until the holidays, and I've just completely lost that. So now I want to like go and um, get back in my leak code time instead. I'll just go and like practice more art, try to like monetize it. Unfortunately, like I can bring like a sketchbook like wherever, which is cool. But trying to like at work casually like edit YouTube videos or film, like can't really do that. Oh, nice. Get rid of this. Lift. Yeah, I need to look into it. I still need to get good at like containers and Kubernetes and everything, and then learn how to like manage all of that. It's not something I've really had to deal with. But like with the cloud skills and everything, it's like I do want to get like more into like cloud security at the end of it, just because that kind of like lines up with what I was like already looking to do. This, see what happens. That's actually insane. But that also means instead of like doing the leak code, I need to build some cloud projects. Luckily, the place I'm working at, they were talking about like doing a cloud transition, which would be pretty sick because then I can do everything from like the ground up, just proof of concepts, Terraform everything, put it all on my resume. Oh yeah, that's always like the first thing. It's like, what could I do to like make me not have to like automatically manage it? I'm doing a project now that's like the database people like keep having like spending an absurd amount of time just like they're having to like constantly unlock accounts because everyone just keeps forgetting to like update their like SSL and like their applications, so it's just constantly like breaking. So like, can we please have a tool that just like handles this for us? So it's just going to be not quite like a CLI, but just a full application to like manage that. That's then going to just do everything from the back end. Yeah, it happens sometimes, but sometimes the move is just to like skip this. It's funny. I put in all that effort to like design a thumbnail to make it seem like I was going to be going like real hardcore world building. uh, I'm gonna have to like definitely like work on that more for Wednesday's stream. You're about to explode. You're annoying. Okay, it's taking the damage. Okay. Going into this third act, I actually have like a pretty sick setup. Generally, you want like a smaller deck unless you're doing something specific. I really would have preferred a limit break. I know you haven't played it, but basically what I've been doing is trying to like get to this card. You gain 3 strength a turn, and that's kind of like a +3 to any damage you do. and then it's like neutral. So like if I play that and then the next turn I have 3 strength, then this goes from like 7 damage twice to like 10 damage twice. And starting to get some cards too where it's like, okay, this goes like 5 times, so then like this doesn't get like a plus like 5, it gets like a plus 15. But I have a really offensive deck. Some heal cards would be nice, but now that like my HP is getting kind of high, I'm getting super beefy. More energy too would be pretty sick, but it's okay. I also picked up Don't Starve, which is pretty fun, but I am also thoroughly confused playing it. Let's see. It's fine. I am probably gonna get like the demon form next term, but whatever. I'll play this a bit risky. It's also the downside of this. It's like because I need that 1 card, and I'm kind of having a fat deck. Getting like dangerously low, but that's a nice card to get. Probably start removing unless I can get. Oh, that's like a guaranteed win. That brimstone kind of works similar as like the demon form, where I gain 2 strength, but then like I kind of have to beat everyone super quickly, because they also are gonna get this. They get that too. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna do this anytime soon, but I also kind of want to get into music production because it's kind of like a random video idea that I had that I thought would be super cool. I'd like to like try to come up with like theme songs for books. Um, there was this one book uh, that was called, or not book, a TV show that was called Love on Netflix, and they did that with like writing theme songs to like movies. And I mean, it's kind of dorky, but I thought that'd be like a fun concept to like do for like books. But while I can play guitar and play a lot of string instruments, oh shit, I haven't like messed with. Do I have a way to win this? Nice. I guess we gotta see if I can clutch this one. Oh, but trying to like put that all together would be fairly difficult. think this run's probably going to be over soon. 15, 16. It's 12. I don't see myself suddenly doing a shit ton of damage. That kind of saves me. That'd be cool. I think those kind of projects are fun. I had a friend who made like a MIDI keyboard and was like doing the like machine go to like connect everything. That seemed like a fun project. Damn. I got too greedy. Okay. So I think I'm not 100% confirmed if I'm going to do this or not. I have off tomorrow, so I might try to do a MLK stream day that's a little more organized. I'm not guaranteeing it because I'm getting close to where I'll start releasing videos again, and there is a lot of like backlog I need to do in the next 2 weeks, like with thumbnails and like final edits, because after the 31st of February, I will be releasing multiple times a week, and the goal is to like minimum 1 video a week, but ideally I would have like 4 a week, and that's like including stream clips and edits, but like at least like 2 videos that are not related to the stream. It's like 1 high effort one a month. So I have a lot I need to do just to like make sure I have that happening, but we are officially returning to like normal videos 31st of January, which looks like a Saturday, which is cool. I have a few long form projects that are in the works. We'll see how that goes, but really for like this year, because last year I realized I could post a lot of like slop and just kind of like shitty comedy videos, which I like doing, but the epiphany I had for this channel, and like I was just kind of like thinking of what do I actually want to watch, and the answer isn't really booktube. I like fantasy booktube and everything, but really I'm not like a big viewer of that genre. Like I have people I like for sure, and I'll check out their videos, but I'd rather like kind of treat this channel as kind of like an insight of like what it's like hanging out with me and all my random interests. So gonna try to combine all that, and with that I have used all my software agile Trello skills to like just come together with like this insane like organization like Kanban that I know exactly like the next probably 30 videos I'm making is now, and then like what are the big 12 ones, to schedule all of that. So I'm hoping now that I know what to do. The issue I had before was like, okay, well, let's make a video. Here's a random like funny idea I had. Go. I'd rather have it like kind of switch where there'll still be comedy videos and everything, but there's also going to be just like here's me going through like review of this video game storyline and every media that's attached to it, or trying to be closer to like a video essay type of like level of content while mixing everything. Yeah, no, I'm pretty good. I've used it for a bunch of things. The thing that took me a while to learn to actually use it is that your Trello should serve the function of like what are you going to do next, and what's the first step that you need to do. Let me Yeah, the thing that made it work for me, and this one isn't like as filled out as my other ones, but I don't want to like spoil like the videos I have planned, is the way I'm using it, and like there are kind of versions of it, but it's like I have a personal, a YouTube one, a streaming one, uh, art one, but it's like, what's the idea or like vision? What are the plans for like this month? And what am I doing this week? Okay, I have a week. What's the prep for that? Live, done. What am I clipping? And the YouTube one looks a little bit different, but it's like that same idea where for me, like I wanted the thing that stopped me from releasing more last year was like I didn't know what I wanted to do with the channel and like what was next. So this one, it's like I can put in a bunch of like ideas for that. Pick one. I have like these templates of like kind of like an example one. What do I need to do for this? What do I need to do for this? And then just kind of move it down the track. My personal and YouTube ones are way more insane because this is the most recent edition. But for me, having like, okay, this is exactly where I am with this, and like, what am I doing with that? The YouTube one, let me see. This is a one I don't really care if it gets spoiled. So like for like a YouTube video, I haven't filled out this one, but it's similar kind of like general description. Making a video about the Chat GPT Wrapped because I find that concept insane. But like I have like a whole like here's everything I need to do like for that video, and I can move it from like idea selected, film edit, all of that. So for managing as many videos as I have in the works right now, it's pretty good. But that's also because it's like planning out 12 or 12 big videos and then like potentially 54 to 80, 50 to like 100 videos for the year. I needed like a good way to just like keep it going. So for me, that works. Oh, that was a different Trello board, but it's still like Trello. Oh, that's kind of like what one of my videos I have planned. I don't really like care if that one gets spoiled because it's not like it's just like a comedy sketch that I have a script for. Um, but like this is kind of like what my like organization for videos look like. This is just like a generic one because I like copy paste like everything. But this is like my for like video like schedule where it's like I know like what I need to do for everything. So like in this case, I haven't like filled it out, but I have a script that's like in a document. Um, I didn't fill out the description for this because it's like a 1 to 2 minute comedy sketch, so I don't need like as much like info as I needed for my other stuff. Um, but that's kind of like I have hella like this. You can kind of see some of like the random ideas that I haven't like gone here where um, in behind here there's just like a bunch of like other like ideas or you know I have 5 videos currently scripted, 3 being recorded, 2 being edited. So trying to do this in Google Docs would be like really hard. But instead, like I have idea selected, scripting, editing, ready, posted, and a bunch of like automations built into it. So if I move something into like this week, it sets like deadlines and everything on me versus like when I put it to like a different spot. So it's like just kind of like how I've been just keeping everything going. Which also, if you use ChatGPT, you should check out your Wrapped because it's like insane that they have that. they still do that like ChatGPT glaze thing, but I will use that to like format some of my scripts, like not write them, but it's like I'll just like word splatter, but I have like scene directions and everything, and then I'll have that be like, okay, this means this, like make this look pretty. And then like sometimes like if I need like an ego boost, I'll be like, tell me what you think about it. And it was definitely like excited about like the idea of me talking about some of the insane people that use ChatGPT. I was thinking because like I use mine mostly for like organization and like formatting and everything, as well as like if I'm like, hey, I want to like find some like good artists that do this type of art, like give me a list of like that, and like that's kind of like how I use it. But it'll tell you like the tone of like how you talk to it, like most likely to whatever award. It's like pretty entertaining, but my thought was like those people that like married ChatGPT or use it as like their therapist or a conspiracy, like what does their rap look like? Which I'd be really interested to see. But I saw it and I was like, this is insane. And then immediately came up with like the idea to do like a sketch about it. But yeah, I think I'm gonna call it here. They had it. I think because I was looking at it like when was I? I think it was like the Friday before New Year's, because I had to go back into the office. They had it like a button, but um, it was just like seeing the rap for that was like pretty insane, just because you're seeing a lot more of it, and it was also like right after the Spotify calling everybody old, like in their raps. But yeah, no, it's pretty entertaining, and AI is getting more and more insane. So I had fun with it. But yeah, I'm gonna call it here. I might do a stream tomorrow. I'm not committing to it, but I will be doing my next stream on the 21st, and we'll be a bit more organized with it. Try to do the thumbnail ahead of time so I'm not like stuck in this type of deal. And then after that, Wednesday, Saturdays are going to be like the main day. But I'll post all of this in the Discord. Okay, all good. I really need to like film and edit, so we will see about tomorrow anyway. But Wednesday and Saturdays are going to be the main days. Okay, sweet. Yeah, I'll post updates, and this time I will have everything ready ahead of time. So it should be like right on the dot at like 6:30 or 6:30. But cool. Thanks for stopping by, dude. I'll catch y'all later.